Welcome, I'm Nina Griffin, and this is the Astrology and Magic channel. Today we'll talk about the astrology of the last week of July and the first couple days of August, that little partial week. This is going to cover the dates starting July 27th through the 31st and August 1st and 2nd. First off, I'd like to say thank you to all of my patrons. I appreciate all of your support. If you would like to become a patron and get access to these forecasts early, you can go to patreon.com/Nina Griffin, and at the highest tier, you'll get access to my monthly Magical Elections ebook, which teaches you how and when to make astrological talismans. This is the week when the Jupiter and Saturn square finally moves out of classical orb, and they will not come into a hard aspect until several years from now, when they come to an opposition. Their next mutual aspect will be a trine starting in 2026. This is helpful from an economic and even a public health perspective. Both of these areas tend to suffer with Jupiter and Saturn in a hard aspect to each other. So we're very happy to see them finally get out of that square they've been locked in for so long. July 30th, Venus will enter Cancer. Venus in Cancer is a lovely placement for a number of reasons, even though she doesn't have major dignity in the sign of the Crab. Both Venus and Cancer share the qualities of coldness and moisture, so Venus feels very much at home in this water sign. However, and this is the important part, Venus and the Moon, which is Cancer's planetary ruler, also share these same qualities. Both planets are cold and moist, so they understand each other very well. In addition, Cancer is the exaltation of Jupiter, the greater benefic planet, so Venus, as the lesser benefic planet, feels very welcome there. Finally, both Venus and the Moon are feminine planets, so Venus in the domicile of the Moon is quite comfortable, as both planets share the qualities of fertility and a natural tendency to increase and grow. Venus in Cancer is romantic, maybe a little naive, since the Moon is the most childlike planet, and enjoys the fairy tale aspect of romance and in life in general. This year, Venus will conjoin Jupiter in Cancer in mid-August, which creates an abundance of electional opportunities focused around Jupiter. It also means that Venus will bring her delicate and idealistic sense of beauty to Jupiter. We will talk more about the Venus-Jupiter conjunction when it happens, but it will easily be the most important event that happens to Venus in Cancer this year. July 31st, the Sun at 9 Leo conjoins Mercury retrograde. This is the inferior conjunction of the Sun and Mercury, the heart of the mystery, when Mercury receives full illumination and purification from the Sun. A slight explanation here. When we do astrological magic or theurgy, what we are working toward is purification, or being sanctified, so that we are worthy of then receiving illumination from the gods. Purification is something that we can continually do, increasing our virtuous behavior and decreasing its opposite, as well as infusing our mundane actions with spiritual meaning. Illumination, on the other hand, can only happen from above, but we have to do our part to make ourselves worthy of it. The Sun-Mercury conjunction speaks of a similar dynamic. Mercury, when it is conjunct the Sun, is simultaneously purifying itself, a potentially painful experience, but also receiving total illumination from the Sun. In that sense, a planet's conjunction with the Sun describes the ideal of the spiritual journey and quest. The fact that Mercury is retrograde suggests that this is a moment of return to one's senses, a return to the path. In the I Ching, there is hexagram 24 titled Return, which exemplifies this idea nicely. The hexagram text says, in the Leggy translation, quote, "Progress and freedom of action are found in return. Goings and comings are unimpeded and friends approach without error. Return to repeat the proper course. 7 days returns the cycle to its beginning. There is advantage in choosing one's path." End quote. The idea is that after the stripping away of hexagram 23, we are now free to return to the way, or the Tao, in hexagram 24. So we can think of this Sun-Mercury conjunction as a marker of returning to our proper path after many wanderings. August 1st, Venus at 1 Cancer will square Saturn and Neptune retrograde in Aries. This is not a pleasant aspect for Venus and could manifest as difficult experiences for women and people in the LGBTQ community, who are frequently ruled by Venus. Saturn and Neptune are in an overcoming or dominant position relative to Venus, so they are positioned to crush this very delicate Venus placement. In the personal sphere, it is not a good time to be in a Venusian role of peacemaker, lover, or creator of beauty. However, I do not advocate taking on the role of Saturn in his fall either. Instead, it is much better to take on the role of the teacher or the guru, as he is symbolized by Jupiter in his exaltation. Whenever we see planets afflicted and creating afflictions, it is best to remove ourselves from that dynamic entirely and seek a higher perspective, a more elevated standpoint from which to approach the situation. Thanks for watching. I'm Nina Griffin, and this is the Astrology and Magic channel.